So the trash box governor of Arkansas has said that he now regrets signing a law banning local mask mandates. All right. So because of what he signed into law, it's not that easy to reverse the law. These things take time. That's the problem when you put bad policies into place. And then he's doing these COVID town halls. And I got to tell you, this is just wild. Listen to two particular people at this COVID town hall going ballistic. I shouldn't say ballistic. These are his constituents about why they aren't going to take the vaccine. Listen to this.
What's in the vaccine? Give me the insert sheet. So if informed consent means you tell me what you put in my body. If Mr. Doctor gives me a vial and says, trust me, I'll give you a vial. You trust me. No. Let's see what's in the vaccine. Let's track the vaccinated versus the unvaccinated in the population to understand what's really going on. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Let me ask you a question, and we'll have Dr. Romero respond to some of this. But let me ask you a question. Do you believe COVID is real?
I believe there's people dying of illnesses. I'm not quite sure what COVID is.
I want y'all to know, when you're on the anti-vaccine train, you're on the same train with these people. The vaccine isn't a cure. I know plenty of people that use their herb when I had the coronavirus. I was using my herbs, my turmeric powder, my lemon peels, my lime, my honey. I mean, no one's saying that you can't use organic stuff or whatever these therapeutic things. Amisha, do they want a 70% mortality rate? It's like they're angry the mortality rate is low. Do they want more people to die? Then they'll say, do they want Ebola? And then they'll say, oh, okay, yes, the mortality rate is low. This is a good thing. Are y'all asking for a higher mortality rate? And that would make your ass go out and get a shot? Amisha, if this is what we are dealing with to try to convince people to protect themselves and us, then we are doomed.
The mortality rate is low, one, because of the advances in modern medicine and technology that America has that far too many countries globally do not. We're seeing that as the numbers rake up across the globe. But I would argue that they weren't even low for America if we look at the numbers from last year. The consistency that we've had is that there were states that imposed, obviously, regulations in terms of social distancing and shutting things down. Many people work from home. If all of that had not happened over the past year, our mortality rate would have shot a whole lot higher as well. I think that we have to recognize here that there are some people that are so dug into being anti-science, and hearing what was just played is really frustrating for me because they also don't understand vaccines. The polio vaccine, the measles, mumps, and rubella, MMR, the one that young people take before they can even enter school buildings as children, they take in a series. These are things that we've been doing for a long time. No, they are not things that will automatically stop all diseases that they are associated with. However, they do stop severe illness and spread of said diseases and viruses. That is the whole point of their creation. This is basic science. And to the point where they're like, okay, well, we don't know what's in that vaccine. Do you know, Clay, how many people I have heard with this same comment when I go on international shows related to America? Well, Americans aren't telling people what's in that vaccine. Yes, the hell we are. A simple Google search like y'all do for everything else will tell you exactly what's in the vaccine. This is not some secret project that was done on the dusk of night that somehow Bill Gates had something to do with. And now you've got fetuses and you've got embryos and you've got all types of stuff in this vaccine. And somehow it's going to give you some chip that's going to make you not be able to enter the gates of heaven. Whatever type of crazy ish that is being spread across conservative media platforms, as well as the anti-vax theory. It's frustrating because it flies in the face of, one, common sense, but two, scientific theory and scientific process. mRNA vaccines, quite frankly, are not new. We have been working towards the science of developing these vaccines since the onset of HIV/AIDS in the late 80s. This is not a new process. What we've done is successfully created one that has been able to dismount a lot of these severe outcomes of COVID-19, not only in terms of reducing the spread, but also reducing the rate of you being able to be incubated, even taken to the hospital, even showing symptoms. We know that the COVID vaccines work. That's not to say you'll never get COVID. I get the flu vaccine every single year. I've been getting it every year for the past 12 years. Have I gotten the flu in 12 years? Absolutely. But I'll tell you one thing, when I got the flu 14 years ago, it knocked me on my tail. When I got it 4 years ago, I was absolutely fine. That's how vaccines work. They are here to ensure that your body develops the immunities and the antibodies to fight against something that it would not have been able to without it. And I think that utilizing this time frame right now is what we saw in Arkansas, where you hear people talk about it as if it's some fight against good and evil, and somehow, the Lord's going to be mad at you if you take the vaccine. One, find me the verse in the Old or New Testament that even mentions a vaccine at all. But in addition to that, please stop using religion as a basis to be dumb as hell. There is absolutely no reason for this. God does not work like that. And like I tell everybody, Jesus had 12 disciples. One of the disciples he chose was a doctor.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, I want to say this, not to absolve what I heard, what the clip that I played, and this was an hour and a half, and I skimmed through a lot of it, and I was just mortified at what I was hearing. It was very Handmaid's Tale. It was very, it was just strange. But I do want to say that part of this blame, it does go on governors like Governor Hutchinson in Alabama. If you would have been on with the science a year ago, maybe we wouldn't be here. This does go on, oh my gosh, Kay Ivey in Alabama. It does go on these governors in these red states who didn't get with the science, who even when we have the rush approval, emergency approval rather, not getting with the science, and now y'all are begging them to get it when you were saying 4, 5, 6 months ago, I'm not going to get it. So this is your fault.
You can't do both. As a leader of a state, it is your responsibility, whether it is a red state, blue state, purple state, to follow the science. When you know that there is a public health crisis happening across the globe, you do everything you can to mitigate said crisis, be it whether that's social distancing, lockdowns, masking. Now that we have a vaccine, there's no real need for said lockdowns, but individuals who don't want to get vaccinated are causing this thing to spread faster. And what you will see as this happens, and Dr. Fauci and other medical professionals have talked about this, is that more variants will happen, because the longer you go with a population that chooses to not get vaccinated, the higher the rate of not only transmission, but the possibility of changes in the mechanisms of the virus. That means we'll see more variants that can become more vaccine resistant. Delta isn't the only fear here. It's that we could have more emerge and vaccines won't matter, because we have so many swaths of the country that have decided that they do not want to believe in science. They do not want to believe in medical professionals. They'd rather listen to somebody who filmed a YouTube video in their basement, or someone who is an anti-vaxxer, no matter what the case, doesn't take medication, believes that shaking herbs for everything is automatically going to save lives. We are beyond that point. Yes, we did those things centuries ago. Yes, there are some people who do it today because they don't have health care. But guess what? The vaccine is free for everyone. The entire point of making this available was that it would be open to those who typically don't have the opportunity because of, employment that doesn't cover their health care, or because of being unemployed. This is open to us all. And I feel like we run a risk of having the ignorant lead everyone else. And I say that with governors in mind, Kay Ivey being one of them in Alabama, and we also just saw it with Hutchinson in Arkansas. You don't need to sign into law something that prevents people from being able to have a mask mandate. These are Republicans who care about local issues. They've said that they don't want to have state control over local things. But meanwhile, they've decided to take the power out of the hands of city leaders so that they can vest it in themselves, because they see masking as partisan.
Doesn't that sound like socialism? Having a governor signing a law that now everybody in this state has to abide by, when individual private companies cannot make their own decision on what they want to do with the mask. I thought that was socialism. The government is ordering what a private company cannot do. That sounds very much like socialism. I thought y'all don't want a mask mandate? Well, then why would you ban a company, a restaurant saying you must have a mask? I thought y'all were against government being involved in your business, and now this idiot signs this mask mandate and wants to get it reversed, and now it's going to take time to do it. I also want to remind people, polio was never cured. It's only been prevented with the polio vaccine. It was never cured. It was just prevented, which made it basically disappear. But it was never actually cured. They had a vaccine to do it. Vaccine and cure, two different things.
And you can't not do both. You can't have it both ways. You can't decide, well, all hell's bells, I'm going to be dragging out, kicking and screaming because I'm never going to get the vaccine. But guess what? I'm not going to wear a mask either. Well, you don't want to do anything.
And there was no one in that room with a mask. There was, and
this is unbelievable.
One of the women that spoke, she said she was the mother of 8 children. And if you're teaching that, I mean, at the end of what one of them said, she's basically threatening him with the wrath of her God. I wonder what else those children are being taught in their homes, because it sounds very, very. Let's go to a call.
The wrath of God has been used to create several hate and alt-right movements over the course of time in this country, and this is just the next stage.
She said, "You will not be guiltless."
We literally have pastors in Nashville who will not allow you into the church if you wear a mask, who will not allow you into the church if you've been vaccinated. Tell me what level of our God says that that's something that you should be doing.
Let's go to Arkansas. Leon from Arkansas, what's up?
Clay, first of all, thank you for taking my call, man. I appreciate that. But I'm a person that don't believe the vaccine, should be in me. Matter of fact, I encourage people who have comorbidities or weak or even old, over 65, 70 years old, go get the vaccine and secure yourself. But it's not good for me. I'm 70, but it's not good for me because.
Wait, hold on one second. Hold on one second, Mr. Leon. Did you say go get the vaccine to kill yourself? Is that what you said?
I tell them to go get it.
To kill themselves.
No. I didn't say that. Wait a minute.
Oh, that's what I thought you said. Okay, go get the vaccine. Okay, go ahead.
I said go get the vaccine to secure yourself.
To secure yourself. Okay, got you.
Yes, to protect yourself, because the people that I know that are older in my group that I'm passing over are frail, old and frail, and they all, most of them got 95% of them got the vaccine, and they feel good. They came back out. They're okay now. We had no deaths in the immediate congregation. Only one death from a person who had never been there since I've been there in the last 4 years, and she was in a nursing home at 40 miles away. But other than that, no one was dead because of it. But
okay,
now,
let me ask you this though, Mr. Leon, because you said go get the vaccine to secure yourself. Why wouldn't you want to secure yourself?
Well, I am secure. That's what I want to tell you.
What you doing?
Listen, since I think I got COVID back in 2019, December, because for 3 or 4 weeks I had all the symptoms that you all talk about. Okay, and after I got over it, about that time the pandemic came in January. And we started taking vitamin D3 and zinc and all this kind of stuff.
I do that too.
Wait, may I finish?
No, Leon, Mr. Leon, we've been on the phone with you about 2 minutes now. So this ain't the Leon show. So you've been talking, you've explained the 95%, whatever. We got to get to the point now, Mr. Leon. So you don't want to secure yourself. You're saying that you are. Give me your final comment.
My final comment is Switzerland did not lock down. Switzerland did not mask. Switzerland did not social distance, and they have less people dying than any other country on the planet.
Switzerland also has one of the healthiest populations in the world. Their obesity rate is less than 1%. Diabetes is non-existent in that country. You have people who exercise 3 to 4 times a day. They believe in healthy eating and eat very green. Most of their food is green vegetables and fish. There's a very different persona when we talk about Switzerland and their health versus when we talk about America, specifically carving out the Black community, where we're talking about obesity rates that are 70 to 80%. We're talking about the average American size of a woman, dress size, being a 18-20. We're talking about Black men who have a morbidity rate to where they are lucky to even see their 70s. We're talking high blood pressure. We're talking all of these issues that Switzerland, quite frankly, doesn't have to worry about. So I think that when you say comorbidity, you're thinking of things that put you in the ground immediately. When we say comorbidity related to COVID-19 and comorbidity in the health sense, we're also talking about being overweight. We're also talking about lack of exercise. We're talking about bad eating habits. We're talking about diabetes. We're talking about high blood pressure. We're talking about cholesterol issues. All of those things are comorbidities. You don't have to have cancer to have a comorbidity.
And also, it's a lie. Switzerland did lock down. Now, it wasn't a strict lockdown, but they probably were as relaxed as us, to be honest with you. We really didn't have a strict lockdown. People really think that we had this hardcore lockdown. Also a country that has a little bit over 8 million people. That's a horrible analogy, but they did have a lockdown. And like you said, they also have incredible health care. And they've been, and this is according to Reuters, that the headline, it says Switzerland accelerating reopening, allowing large events with COVID certificates. COVID certificates. That's what they were asking for. So they had their own measures that they took to balance economic protections with pandemic-related health measures. Listen, if you want to be the fool, you be the fool. But don't use Switzerland as an example. They did have a lockdown. It was a light lockdown, and it was effective. But you never know. It could hit back. It could hit back. That's how these viruses work. But yeah.
And that's also why Switzerland locked off access to Americans for over a year. The level of fear they had in the American population is extremely low.
Exactly. Yeah. And just so y'all know, these COVID certificates, it was to show they were vaccinated and they recovered from COVID-19 or are tested negative. People are freaking out over a quote unquote vaccine passport. You know, people just see a little thing, a little headline, and they think that, and they think we don't know. You know, as we sit back and read this information all the time. Yeah, that's a little. Now I can give you an example of other countries like India, like Senegal, where they are begging, crying, pleading for the vaccine. See, that's our dumb American privilege, where we really don't even.
The World Health Organization coming out today, just a couple of hours ago, issuing a moratorium on giving extra vaccines or getting a vaccine booster shot, because we have so many countries who are not as wealthy and privileged as the United States of America, where their population is begging for a vaccine because they're dying in droves. Yet we over here could have basically eradicated COVID-19 months ago because everyone had access at the beginning of May.
Everyone.
I got mine at the beginning of April. And at the end of the day, we still see people who are deciding not to do it. Meanwhile, countries are begging to have a vaccine that we readily have, that right now in access could be used 4 times over in this country.
Haiti, the first Black nation, is begging for the vaccine. And y'all want to align yourself with some person who is saying that there are fetal particles in the vaccine. Come on now. Come on.